Well, hey garden friends, it's Destry. Welcome back to my Oregon yard. Today is a beautiful early autumn Saturday. It's in September and I have a couple hours this afternoon to get some things done around the yard. So I'm gonna just go ahead and turn the camera on as I'm, doing some of these projects today. So one of the projects I need to get done today is to clear out some of the summer annuals from this year. I have some petunias that are just spent and done. So I definitely have a couple hanging baskets I want to look at and see if I can refresh them with some pansies, just for some fall color. So I did buy pretty much a whole flat of pansies. I also have some marigolds that I grew from seed that I need to do something with. I've been thinking about different like fall containers or projects, so I might use some of those today too, so I'll show you those. Other than that, I mean, the garden is looking really good. I've got a little bit of powdery mildew like on some of my squash, my pumpkins, but not too bad. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and clip some of the leaves that have the powdery mildew, but leave the plants in the ground for today. And then I'll also give you a quick update on my heirloom mums. So if you've been around the channel for a little bit, you might have seen me. I bought these little baby plugs, I guess, little cuttings of mums, and I've planted them up. Now they're all in a garden bed, and so I'm really hoping for some autumn flowers. Also, the flower stand is all zhuzhed up for the fall season, so I'll share that with you and basically just kind of do some tasks around the yard today. So let's go ahead and get started. So one plant that's looking really pretty in the yard right now, you guys, are these asters. So this is their third year in the ground, and they have really exploded with growth this year. You can see they're kind of taking over my hydrangeas here. My hydrangeas are all pinked up for the fall season and looking so pretty, but these asters are such a vibrant, like purple. I've been using these as filler flower in some of my cut flower arrangements, and it works really well. It has this like these nice branches to it that work really nicely in a vase or a little mason jar like I do. So I'm really enjoying this pop of color right here in my garden. This dahlia is loving the cooler temperatures as well, and it is just going to town. This one comes back every year for me. This is a new plant I planted this year, and I cannot believe the growth it's put on. It is a type of salvia. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's doing really, really well. I love that like kind of lipstick pink of it. And then my swoop is looking good. Still got my lisianthus going. But let me go over here and I'll share with you the petunias that I got. Not petunias, I'm sorry, the pansies that I got. So I just got a variety and I need to be putting them in a little bit more shade. I really like this one here with this kind of pink with the yellow center. I grabbed some orange, some purple, and some white. So I just really grabbed a variety, some different variety packs, and I use them in a different project at the high school. You can see I need to water them, but I do need to kind of get them planted up and do something with them. I also have these two plants that I'm planning on using for kind of a Halloween project, or like a fall project, I should say. And I also need to kind of do something with these. They are requiring watering every day. Same with these. These are an osteospermum, and I don't know if they're going to bloom again. They're kind of done, and I never did use them in a project. And then in here, I've got my marigolds that I grew from seed, and they are looking so good. They're definitely need to get out of these little pots and into, wherever I'm going to use them for a project. That was my plan for some fall planting. So I need to think about where I'm going to put them. And I did harvest the rest of my potatoes patch. This is what I was able to grab. I have these just in the greenhouse kind of curing, basically like kind of sitting. I need to get them though because they're starting to green up, because if you leave them in the sun too long, they can get green. So they're dry now, so I need to wash all of these and bring them inside, process them, and cook them up for dinner. So over here are my pumpkins, and you can see I am starting to get a little bit of powdery mildew. So I'm just going to come in and groom some of these leaves that are kind of the worst offenders here of whatever squash that I have. But honestly, like even these baby squash that are coming on, like I don't know if there's really time for them to develop at this point. So, I thought about just pulling all, everything, just pulling the whole patch. Sorry about my camera. I'm getting caught up on things here with my tripod. I still have a few squash hidden in here. I definitely have some pumpkins to harvest. Um, but you can see, I mean, it's not looking great. Probably in another week or two, I'll be pulling all of that out. And then this tomato, I've got to get in here today and harvest the rest of this. They all came ripe at the exact same time, and I'm sure some of them are no good. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and pull this plant. Again, even baby ones like this, like I don't even know if there's enough time in the season for ones like that to keep developing. I mean, I guess I could just leave it and find out. Um, but I do need to harvest the rest of those today because some of them are beyond harvesting. Like those ones there, they're all gross. So I got to deal with that today too. And over here are one of the hanging baskets that I had. This was, oh look, actually, hold up now, hold up. See, I've been waiting for it to do this. I was waiting to see if it would bounce back. Now I've heard that they do like cooler temperatures. So, and I did cut it back once. I've been treating it for budworms, trying to get this to come back. But part of me just wants to ditch it and, maybe put something else in there or just maybe just get rid of that basket for this season. As far as maintenance on my dahlias, I have been pretty neglectful. I did pull out a couple tubers here and I replaced them with some of my heirloom mums. So here's 3 of my heirloom mums here, and I have them all labeled. And so I'm really hoping for some fall blooms. I have them spread out throughout my garden. So I have them in like 2 other places. But this particular variety of dahlia, I had so many of these tubers. I mean, I have so many, and they're really not that great. I don't love them. They kind of do this. They have a really short stem, and then they get all kind of crunchy just within a day or two. They don't hold very well. They hold okay in a vase, but I don't know. They're just okay. And I have a bunch of them now. So you can see another thing I've been doing is labeling all of my dahlias and trying to, write at least a description, a short description of what they are, like what the flower looks like. I don't know the exact names of all of them, but pink with a white tip. So that's like pretty much all of those. And you can also see they're starting to get some powdery mildew too. So I did strip a bunch of the leaves on the bottom just to try to negate that a little bit and get a little bit more time out of them. But I ended up pulling these couple tubers just because I was just feeling done with them and I needed room for the mums. All right, so you saw the plants I have to play with. Here are a couple areas I was thinking about using them. Before I show you that though, I've got to show you this. Look at my zinnia that broke. So bummed. They're just starting to get so heavy with all these blooms and you just bump them and they knock over. So I just did a video recently where I was harvesting a bunch of zinnias and I went through all the different kinds that I grew this year. So if you haven't seen that video, you should check it out. I love zinnias, and especially this time of year, they're so gorgeous. They're so pretty, and I've really enjoyed all the different kinds I'm growing this year. And a quick update on all my green beans. These are my green bean patch happening here. You can see I put some trellising in here, and they are starting to produce. So this is a great time of year. This is such a great fall crop. Now I did get these in the ground probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 now, maybe 3. And then I also put the beets in at the same time. You can see I need to groom some of the leaves of the beets. They got a little scorched, but now that we're going to have cooler temperatures, they're just going to like take off. So, but the beets are doing their thing. Over here is where I put the heirloom mums, quite a few of them here. So right in this middle section here, I've still got zinnias on that side, but these are all the heirloom mums, and I have them staked up. I'm really, really hopeful that they're going to be developing some blooms, and these blooms will be big. They'll be more like a zinnia or dahlia bloom, not like a traditional, small mum that you would get for like, at the nursery or whatever. They're sort of a different type. So I got some status blooming, got some yellow there and some purple. And so status is still going strong in that little patch. Drawflower also going strong over here. I need to come in and harvest some of this. It's just huge. Over here is another area I'm thinking about putting some pansies is my little window box, but honestly, I can barely get to it. I've got a fig tree here. I've got all the zinnias that are just, and strawflower that are just covering this whole section. But up in here, I have some um, petunias that are done. Whatever these super petunias, those ones were like a black one. I don't think they were super petunia. They were just like a really dark purple. But, I think they're kind of done and fizzled out for the season. I don't know. I kind of want to wait another week and see if I'll get any more blooms now that it's going to be cooler temps. You can see my spider plants in the back, just house plant spider plants are doing good. But I was thinking about putting some, doing something for fall here with those pansies. Area I just planted up with some new things. I put this coneflower in the ground and it's doing really well. I also put this one in the ground and this little coreopsis and then this one here. And these are all doing really good. They're starting to like take. You can kind of tell when plants start to take. There's also another one there. So I kind of worked on this area in a video recently and all the flowers seem to be doing good right here. Really amazed with this dianthus that I planted from seed. It is looking so good right through here. I love this little spot for it. So I hope that it will, come back for me. They can perennialize in my area. So I'm really hoping that they do because I really like the blooms on this. And my fuchsias came back really, really well for me too this year. They're all tucked back in here in the shade garden. Some of the ground covers that I put in a recent video and some of my shade garden plants are doing well as well. So here's a couple. I put these 2 ground covers in recently and they're starting to take. Over here I've got some Gonfrina and some really pretty Rudbeckia. I do need to come in here and take probably some of these older blooms so that they will continue to produce new blooms for me. I did notice like ones like this. I need to get in here and kind of deadhead some of those. You could definitely leave them up for winter interest, but if I want to get a few more blooms, I could take and deadhead those. But the Gonfrina is just really pretty. It's really taken off. All right, so this is one of the projects I want to get going on today. This is a hanging basket that I did, and you can see these are the petunias. They were beautiful. They were such a pretty kind of double bloom, frilly. I've still got some blooms on here, which is crazy, but most of it looks pretty dead. So basically you can tell, it got budworms. I sprayed it for budworms, but it's just tired. It's just done. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull all those plants. Now there's another plant in here that's doing awesome. This one here, and I wish I'll try to find the tag, but look how crazy big that got. So this is one of my orb planters. It's kind of round at the bottom. So this silvery plant is staying, but all of this brown is going to go. I'm going to refresh this one today. So another task I wanted to take on today, if I can get it done, I don't know, but I have a bunch of propagations. Again, I've done videos about, potting up propagations, and once I clip them all and then I kind of just leave them alone. I let them root, but I've got so many right now, guys. So I need to get these potted up. Some of these I'll be keeping, like this guy right here. But a lot of these I'll be putting out on the flower stand for sale. I've even been I have a little ivy that grows in my yard. So I even have like a little ivy jar here. How cute is this? I have one here too. So I might go ahead and plant that up. I don't mind ivy in a pot. I just don't want it in my landscape, Basket is still hanging on strong. This is the Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, and I have not cut it back. I have been treating it for budworms. It is just in a hanging basket, but I'm still happy with it. It's still blooming its head off. And then all of my ones down here are doing good, except I need to deadhead them, all my geraniums, I should say. But again, I've been treating them for budworms. I'm starting to get blooms again, thankfully. And I've got lots of different kinds here, kind of my little collection. Now, all of these will go in the greenhouse for the winter, and I will overwinter them in there. And I just keep them from year to year and use them for different things. other orb hanger is doing a little bit better. I'm going to stand on the couch here and see if I can get up here. I do have it reblooming. You can see here just a few. I did cut it back, but again, you can see, I mean, just the plants they just don't look the best. Again, this was another kind of plant I stuck in there too, and it's doing good. And then there's a couple fuchsias in here that are doing good. So let me spin around. So like there's one of the fuchsias. It's getting more sun on the other side, but I thought about pulling this one down and then just taking out the petunias as well. But look, I'm getting some more flush of blooms. So I might just leave that one. It doesn't have spider mites that I can tell, or any kind of, bug. I could treat it for budworm. Again, I've been doing that, but this other orb one just really didn't hold up. It gets a lot more sun, and yeah, I don't know. It just didn't do as good. Just got my dirt down here. In fact, I think what I'll do, put a little dirt in the bottom, but then I'm gonna there we go. I'm gonna set this guy in here and then fill the dirt around him so you guys can see this. Potting up always takes a lot of time, and I like to save, some of this projects for when it's cold and icky out. I like to work in the greenhouse doing things like this, but I also did all those propagations, and they're just sitting there in water and they're kind of bugging me. So I do want to get them potted up if I can. Now, one tip I have for you when you're doing water propagations, and then when you put them into soil, finally, just keep them really wet for the first couple weeks almost, because those roots are getting used to, look at that gorgeous plant just from a cutting. Those roots are getting used to being in so much water, so you really have to keep them damp. But yeah, pot was a much better fit for this one. And now I have the space available. I can either cut more props and put it in here, or just use it for something else. I think right now I'm going to put it in my dirt because my dirt's not very damp. I'm going to try this philodendron in that small pretty beige pot that I had. I'm going to check the roots on this one. Oh yeah, it's always amazing how fast they will root. So philodendron's a really easy one to propagate too, and it's so pretty. So I am getting quite a little collection of these, but I do really love them. Again, I'm looking for any parts of this stem that are not really needed anymore. Like that one even was kind of yellow. All right, so now, again, I don't know if that's going to be the right size. I might need another kind of a taller pot. Yeah, that'll be nice. This one just says Faith, I guess. So that's pretty good. So got that one. Next up, I've got this little, I think it's like a marble queen, pothos. And then I think I have another branch of that same one here. And then some of these I'm just gonna assembly line in these little green pots and then do them for sale on the flower stand. So some that are just the regular pothos. I am not going to be super careful about this. I mean, look at all this. So I'm just going to kind of make some clumps and make some plants. There's a nice clump. And I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing with these. Again, I might sell them on the flower stand. I might use them, I don't know, for decor, I guess. But whatever I'm going to do with them, I'm tired of looking at them in the glass jars, and I'm tired of changing the water and basically tired of looking at them. So we're just going to get them in some pots. So somehow I got this kind of grass in that garden bed, and it has been a pain in the butt. I don't know if you can see this. It's not fully developed. I've been trying to pull it now so it doesn't go to seed, but it is the worst grass. I don't know what this is. I kind of know what it is. I think it's a like dried floral thing that I brought into the yard at the end of last season. It was like a little reed that I found on the side of the road or something, and I am regretting that decision right now because this grass has come up everywhere in this garden bed particularly. So I'm really trying to stay ahead of it and get these, you know, the tops of them before they all go to seed again. Anyway, word to the wise, maybe don't bring home stuff from the side of the road. Definitely finding like a lot of squash that was just buried in here. And then I'm sort of evaluating, like I just pulled out, there was one vine here that I could see there was no fruit on it. It had a flower on it, but there's no time in the season for that flower to even develop. So I went ahead and pulled it. But a lot of these vines still have pumpkins attached or squash. But I am trying to remove all of this powdery mildew, all these leaves. And, you know, I can try to get in there and weed, but it's really hard right now with all of this in here to do much weeding. So I'm just going to kind of groom stuff today, I think. You know, it's like as I get in here, I can make some decisions. Like, you know, maybe it's time to just call it a day on some of these. I'm not sure. Really not a lot of time left in the season. Now, the other thing is I can see the powdery mildew is actually on the stalks of the plant too. And it's mainly just these zucchini up here. Just want to give the pumpkins another couple days. I mean, they can put on some size at the end of the season. Now I've got some little orange ones back here, I'm just noticing. So one thing I can do is sort of evaluate, lift them up and look at the stalk and see if there's anything still, you know, if it looks dead, basically. So like the stalk on this smaller one is really, really green. The stalk on this older one is turning brown. So that tells me I could probably take that one already, that older one. Just found a really giant zucchini there. There's some leaves back in there that don't look good and more of that grass. Just going to get in here and do a couple more of these powdery mildew leaves. And open up any pumpkins that I see. I'm going to try to get all those leaves around it and open it up and give it some sun. Now that the main part of summer is done, they can really benefit and put on a lot of size from the warmth of the sun and the heat. So I'm really trying to thin this out. Let me flip the camera around so you have a better angle. All right, so hopefully you can see these little white pumpkins. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm kind of looking. A lot of the stems are brown. Some of them are still green. This one, I can see the vine is done. So I'm going to take this one. Oh, this one already broke off from the vine. So yeah, these might be more done than I thought. Looking good though. So this one seems like it's maybe been detached from the stem for a while. See how it's like yellowed? I'm not sure. But some of the stems still look like they have life in them. So, but I might take some of these little pumpkins today too. Some of them look ready. So the more I get in here, the more I discover, you know. And it's a twofer. It's like cherries. That's cute, man. Okay. You must separate. There we go. Little teenies. Teeny tinies. Teeny shinies. This one in here. There's definitely some stuff to cut in this bed. So I don't know. It makes me wonder more and more if I should just take the whole thing out, but I don't know. I guess I can do it in stages. All right, well, I still have some zucchini on, like you can see, but I groomed up a lot of those powdery mildew leaves. And then check out my first harvest of pumpkins. These are the ones that this one was already off the vine or they were just ready. So I grabbed those. There's more. So ones like this I left. You can see the vine is still nice and green. And so these could potentially get, a little bit bigger and beefier. But I did try to groom a lot of the powdery mildew. Same with this squash. Like I could probably just take this squash and pull the whole plant, but I also could let it get a little bit bigger. Over here, I've got my big Cinderella pumpkin, or my white, it's kind of a white flat. The best, biggest white flat I have this year. You can see I have a few more little white ones, and the bed is just a mess though. Look at all the weeds. Again, I'm still got some of that powdery mildew, but this is the other one, which here's the deal. It was this blue pumpkin, and I think it would have been flat if I would have put it correctly. If I would have sat it up, you know what I mean? It would have grown differently, but it kind of grew like on the side, and I'm not as happy with the shape. But I do think the color is kind of cool. It's kind of this weird white. In fact, it might even be the same plant as that. I just didn't prop it up properly. There's a couple of the orange ones. Again, this one's probably done. That one's kind of misshapen too. And there's one here. So not too many of the orange, unfortunately. A few more whites over there, which again, the vine is green, so I'm going to leave those. But I bet you within another week or so, probably by next weekend, look at this guy, zucchini, I'll be pulling all of this out. So again, it's kind of one of those things. Do I leave it? Do I just get it done today? So I think I will leave it for the week and probably tackle it next weekend. But honestly, it's pretty dry still. And, as long as we don't have super wet weather, I should probably be okay for another week. Girls came out and harvested most of the tomatoes. I probably will honestly take the rest of these. And I think I'm going to make some tomato soup. I like to make tomato soup when I have just like so many tomatoes. It's pretty easy to make, especially if you have an immersion blender. So yeah, I love making tomato soup. It's really easy. It's like I usually just roast the tomatoes in the oven on a pan with some like olive oil and spices. You can even use like, herbs from your own yard or whatever. And then I take it out, I let it cool, and then I use my hand immersion blender to mix it up. You add like heavy cream, some chicken stock. It's pretty simple to whip together. And so I'm going to do that, I think, this weekend and just harvest the rest of those tomatoes. I've been giving them to neighbors and stuff. So usually the kids will eat the tomato soup. I've tried to freeze it. It does not freeze very well. But yeah, that's one thing to do if you've got like so many tomatoes, just an idea for you. But I'm super excited for all those pumpkins I harvested. I'm going to go take those inside. I am going to be gluing dried flowers to the top, kind of like I did in a different video. So I'll try to have that one linked for you in the description. So I used faux pumpkins and then did some dried florals on the top, and it looks so cute. So that's what I grew those for, was to actually do that on some real pumpkins too. So I can get busy on that, which kind of makes me just want to harvest all of them now so I can just start on that project. But I don't know if I'll get to it today. I'm still just kind of dinking around the yard and like doing some stuff. Let me show you the other heirloom mums. I think they're over here. I don't think I showed them yet. So they're back here. So let me share those with you. All right, so in this last bed, past the pumpkins I just worked on and the squash, I have some zinnias, which are looking beautiful. And then this is where I put the heirloom mums. So I had potatoes here all season. So you can see it's about a fourth of this bed. And I put in 6. And they are doing great here. They get a lot of afternoon sun. I would say late afternoon sun and a lot of shade midday. And they are doing really, really well. You can see I have an unwelcome, some sort of vine here with a pumpkin on it. I don't know where that one came from. I didn't think I planted any pumpkins in this bed, so it might be a traveler from that other garden bed. What do you want to bet it is? But anyway, so this is where the rest of the heirloom mums are. So again, these will not winter over for me. Most likely, I'm probably not going to leave them in the ground. I'm going to let them do their thing, hopefully give me beautiful blooms. Then I will cut them back, probably repot them in some gallon pots and then bring them into the garage or the shed, maybe the greenhouse, and overwinter them, someplace a little bit more protected. But you can see my zinnias are still going strong, no powdery mildew on this. So, you know, that's the other reason to kind of try to get it out of your yard if you see it, is it can, you know, the spores just go and it can infect other plants for sure. So anyway, but that's just kind of what happens here in the Pacific Northwest. This time of year, you know, it just happens. We get some moist mornings and it doesn't take much to have that come on. Well, I got a couple of the pansies planted in that orb planter and got that all cleared out. I'm still not sure what I'm going to be doing with some of these some of these fall plants. I would say stay tuned. I think I have a planter out front that I'd like to clean out and add the marigolds and pansies, but I also want to get a couple more fall plants. And again, I'm just kind of um, waiting to, you know, for that to be the right weather to do that, you know. And then these are all my propagation jars. You can see they're all empty. I got to clean them all out. I've got a cat in a box. Midnight is hanging out in a box. These are some things I've been selling on the flower stand as well. Again, those spider plants, you can't beat them. They're just really easy. You can forget to water them. You can water them too much, and they're fine. But it feels really good to have all those jars empty and all that kind of water. You know, those water propagations can kind of like, I'm like, does it make my house smell gross? Also, I tried to do some pumpkin like scarring, and so here's my experiment. Please don't laugh at me. Please be kind and gentle, but you can see I didn't do it soon enough, I don't think, because I think you have to do it while the plant is still attached. This one just came off, and so I thought I would try it. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I think it's probably just going to make this pumpkin rot faster than it would. But man, I was hoping I could do something with that, so maybe. And down here I have another spider plant. It's been around a while. This was some sedum that broke off, so I just stuck it into some dirt to see what would happen. And then I have 4 Christmas cactus back here that have been loving their life in the greenhouse all summer. They put on a ton of size, so yeah, I've got to do something with those at some point. So yeah, definitely stick around. I do have 2 like Halloween planters. I'll show you those real quick. And then I have a big pot in the front, and I think that's where I'm going to be doing like a fall planting, but I'm just not really ready yet. Let me show you these Halloween planters. They're so cool. I'll flip the camera around and show you. Okay, so back in here, I have to kind of sneak back through here. I have these Halloween planters. Now, I planted these up last year. Look at them, you guys. Oh my gosh, I forgot their names. I think they're like Bill and Bob or something. My daughter named them. Anyway, they had this plant, and I planted this last year. Crosica, something like that. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I will try to find the name, but you can see it's gotten way bigger. When I planted them, they were really tiny, and now they've got a big old root ball. Behind them is some Dusty Miller, and I don't know about that. I might be pulling that out of there. So this is what I might be using the marigolds on, because that's very like, I don't know, I think marigolds, and I think like Day of the Dead and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and plant these up in an upcoming video and get them ready for the spooky season. But I'm trying to decide if I wanted to do something before that for just like a fall planter. So I'm not really sure. My ginkgo tree is back here in the shade. I had it in too much sun when I first planted it, but it has put on some new leaves. See all that like bright green leaf? Look at that one versus these littler ones that were here when I bought it. But it's been back here in the shade and doing good. But yeah, I think I might pull that Dusty Miller out of there. It's kind of wild, and do something a little bit different here, but keep the centerpiece pieces in there and clean them up a little bit. So check this out. I've got one hiding down here. It's a flat white. Oh, I'm so excited that I have 2 of them. Now I can actually do like some stacked pumpkins. That's exciting. Yeah, this vine just went crazy and came back here and did its thing and had a pumpkin hiding back there the whole time. That's kind of nice. And I had to show you this hydrangea. Look how pretty and pink it is now. This is a Proven Winners. It's one of the little varieties. Sorry, I don't know more than that. Kind of this lacy cap. Oh, So beautiful. Its fall color is just beautiful over here. I'm loving it. Such a pretty blush color. This one I put in the ground this year and it's kind of gone crazy. This is the flower. So it's supposed to be really good for hummingbirds, obviously with the bill, but look how tall it got. Like it's all the way up. It's kind of got this one long crazy arm that's coming up. It really took off here. So I don't mind it. It's a pretty plant. I need to divide this one. This is a cow lily and it doesn't get enough sun. I got one bloom this year from a plant that big. And so to me, that's not worth the real estate. I think it's just in a bad spot and I think it needs divided and put in a sunnier location, probably on the other side of the fence. But I do like the leaves and the foliage. It's really pretty. Like it looks kind of like a hosta or something, you know. It's nice here. And this echinacea, look at this. So look at the spots on there. I don't know exactly what causes the spots, to be honest, or if it's the type that I bought. I was kind of wondering if maybe it did have a fungus or whatever, but I don't even care. I think it's so pretty. And I'm not using these for any cut flowers. These are, you know, seeds for the winter, for the animals and the birds. So I'm just enjoying it, but I thought the spots were really kind of fun. It's like this weird little whimsical spot right here. This is a lavender topiary that I replanted and I put it in the shade and it bounded back so well. I thought it was a goner. I thought it was going to die. And I can't believe, you know, putting it in the shade all summer and then repotting it, fertilizing it, and it's just so happy. So I'm glad I didn't give up on that plant and I did a little like TLC to it. I'm really glad because it's a lavender topiary, which is kind of cool to have. And this bed, I'm really glad that I popped some zinnias in this bed because the bachelor button's kind of done, you know, and it doesn't look real good. But then all of a sudden these zinnias just, you know, took over the bed a little bit more. And so I've really enjoyed this variety too. It's so pretty. The pollinators are all over it. So I'm glad I did that because, you know, it's nice to layer plants so that when one thing fades, another thing sort of comes to light, you know? And so I think that's working pretty well in this bed. Fuchsias are happy with the cooler weather too. This one's 2 years old. I overwintered this one last winter and I took cuttings from it. So I have more of this variety, but it's so pretty. It's just covered in blooms. Look at this, just dripping with blooms. I love fuchsia. And the other fuchsias are doing pretty good too. Let's take a look. This one is kind of competing with that other thing. But that's really pretty and it's got blooms on it. This one's going good. Look at all the buds I've got going. More blooms. Again, there's a lot of spiders out this kind of autumn time, so I'm trying to be careful. This fuchsia basket looks awesome. I've been coming in here and trying to, you know, I come in here and just, you know, groom them and get the dead ones off of there, but look how many blooms that has. This one back here, they're all slightly different. And then there's one more here. And now this one has, which one is it that has the dichondra silver falls? It must be the next one. So there's that one. And then, yeah, here's the one, the hanging basket that has the fuchsia and then the dichondra. It goes all the way down. So I have 2 more dichondra silver falls in my greenhouse. And I have to say they struggled a lot more in the greenhouse. I should have just moved them outside someplace like this, shady, because I think they would have liked that. And I definitely want to repeat that look. So it would be nice to have, you know, be able to do a cutting or do a smaller one or something to go in some of these hanging baskets that line my fence. But I thought I'd share my fuchsias if there's any fuchsia lovers here on the channel. They're just so pretty. I really do love them. And they just work. They just work for me. All right, well, this is what the flower stand's looking like right now. I've got some flowers out here actually that I'm going to move back into the shade a little bit more. So hopefully they can last the day. But I've got some flowers out, but let me show you what I did. I went ahead and got these little picks just at the dollar store. Again, I need to get out here and deadhead some of these geraniums. But I just kind of zhuzhed these up with some dollar store picks. And, you know, some of this is still going strong. I've got another one of the vine maples here. And the blue flower there is going good. This one here, I'll show you the other side. The planter on this side is actually, the white flower is really taken over. It's really pretty. And so it's pretty much the white and the blue now, but I just added these little picks for some decor. These little ones I put in the ground are doing good. I've been deadheading those. The coleus I put in the ground is doing okay here. And then for the banner, I put it kind of behind this time. And then in the front, I just got this this kind of bunting at the dollar store. This like little, it's like little felt bunting. I had the leaves. I made the wreath. That's one of the summer wreaths I made. And then I wrapped another one of those fall buntings around here. So you can see I have the happy fall. It looks really cute, I think. It's just a little, you know, a little something. I also got stickers, so that's kind of new. I got 3 different designs of stickers for my customers to take. So one's just a small one there, one has the good little greenhouse, and then this one here. So that's been kind of fun. People have been taking those. So anyway, I did dress the flower stand up for the fall season. It is looking really pretty out here, and everybody's enjoying it. Guys, I think that's going to do it for my gardening today. I was able to get a lot done, and it's time to go inside and relax for a little bit. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you found this video helpful or motivational. I hope you like checking out my garden. If you need me, I'll be doing some gardening. So be sure to like and subscribe, and check out this video next for more gardening fun. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.